All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into something that can be super tricky when you're learning English.
Yeah,
Phrasal verbs.
they can be tricky.
Those crazy combinations of verbs and prepositions that can just completely flip the meaning of a sentence on its head.
Yeah, just one tiny word can make all the difference.
It's true. That's what makes it so interesting.
Right.
For example, imagine someone says they're calling out a politician for a misleading statement.
Oh, yeah.
That has a strong meaning.
It does. Calling someone out is about publicly challenging them or holding them accountable.
Right. It's a pretty serious
Yeah.
accusation.
For sure.
But then imagine you're at a crowded park
Okay.
and you call out to a friend you see across the field.
Totally different vibe.
Totally different. It's the same verb call, but with those little prepositions out versus out to, it completely changes the meaning.
Exactly. And that's what makes phrasal verbs so fascinating and sometimes frustrating.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So should we jump right in with some more examples?
Yeah, let's do it. See what I did there? Nice. Jump in.
I like it.
Yeah.
So imagine you're in a meeting and everyone's brainstorming ideas.
Right.
And someone says, jump in, give us your thoughts.
Exactly. Jump in has that sense of eagerness and enthusiasm.
Like you're excited to contribute.
Yeah, you're diving right into the conversation.
But what if someone butts in while you're trying to explain something?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's definitely not as polite.
Not as polite at all.
No, it implies interrupting rudely or intruding where you're not wanted.
And then if things get really heated, someone might just say, butt out.
Exactly. And if you want to make it even stronger, you can say, butt out of it.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Noted. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about the tech world.
All right.
Remember when Apple first came out with the iPhone?
Oh, yeah, that was a game changer.
Changed everything.
Yeah, come out with is often used to talk about launching a new product or releasing something new to the public.
And all those people coming up with the ideas for the iPhone in the first place?
Yeah. Right, all that brainstorming and innovation.
So much creativity.
Yeah, come up with is all about the creative process, the generation of new ideas.
This is already making me think about English in a whole new way.
I think that's a great point. It's not just about memorizing definitions. It's about getting a feel for the subtle ways that these phrasal verbs shape the meaning.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready for more. Hit me with another pair of phrasal verbs.
Okay, let's talk about data.
Okay.
You know how important it is to back up your computer?
Super important.
Yeah.
I can't imagine losing all of my pictures and files.
Right. Back up means to create a copy of your data so you don't lose everything if something happens to your computer.
Yeah, it's like insurance for your computer.
But what if you've promised to help a friend move and then you get cold feet?
Oh, no. Well, hopefully I wouldn't back out at the last minute.
Let's hope not, because backing out implies breaking a commitment or withdrawing from something you previously agreed to.
Yeah, that could really damage relationships.
It can damage relationships and trust, for sure.
So we've got backing up to protect our data and backing out, which we want to avoid.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see all these patterns and connections that I never realized before.
That's the beauty of it. The more you explore phrasal verbs, the more you'll appreciate the richness and depth they bring to the English language.
Okay, I am hooked. I'm ready for another one.
Okay, let's talk about learning.
Right.
Think about that aha moment when you finally catch on to a difficult concept.
Oh, I love those moments. It's like suddenly everything clicks into place.
Exactly. But sometimes we need to catch up when we've fallen behind, like studying for a test or finishing a project.
Or catching up with a friend you haven't seen in a while.
Yes, that's a great example. Catch-up can also be about reconnecting with someone and hearing what they've been up to.
Wow, we've already covered so much, and it feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
It is. We've only just begun to explore the fascinating world of phrasal verbs.
I can't wait to keep going.
Me too. Let's dive into some more of these linguistic gems.
So many good phrasal verbs out there. Tons.
Let's keep going.
All right, let's think about communication for a second.
Okay.
Have you ever had that experience where you're trying to explain something
Yeah.
and it feels like your message just isn't getting across?
Oh, yes. It's so frustrating when it feels like you're talking to a brick wall and they just don't get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where get across comes in.
Okay.
It's all about successfully communicating your ideas, making sure that your meaning is understood.
How can we effectively get our point across?
Well, sometimes it's about choosing the right words, being clear and concise.
Okay.
Other times it might involve using examples or analogies to illustrate your point.
So it's like you need to find the right tools to help people understand what you're saying.
Exactly.
I like that.
And speaking of communication,
Okay.
let's talk about supporting others.
All right.
You know how good it feels to have someone cheering you on when you're facing a challenge?
It's the best. It's like having your own personal pep squad to pump you up. It is. Cheering someone on is all about giving them encouragement and positive energy.
Yeah, you really feel the support.
But what about when someone is feeling down in the dumps or discouraged?
Well, then it's time to cheer them up.
Yeah.
Bring on the ice cream and heartfelt conversations.
Yeah. Cheering someone up is about lifting their spirits.
Yeah.
Offering comfort and support when they need it most.
So cheering on for that
Yeah.
boost of energy and
Yeah.
cheering up when they need some extra love.
Yeah, I like that. Sometimes life throws us curveballs,
It does.
and we just have to carry on.
That's so true. We have to keep going.
Right. Carrying on is all about resilience.
Yeah.
Finding the strength to persevere even when things are tough.
And sometimes we have a plan that we need to carry out.
Oh, that's a good one. Carry out implies action.
Yes.
It's about putting that plan into motion.
So we carry on when times are tough and we carry out the plan.
Exactly. Both are essential for getting through life's challenges.
I'm loving these connections.
Yeah.
This is fascinating. It's like we're peeling back the layers of the English language and finding all these hidden meanings.
It is. And, sometimes we need to look into things more closely,
Yeah.
especially when we're trying to solve a problem or figure something out.
Like when you're researching for a project or trying to fix the Wi-Fi.
Exactly. Looking into implies a deeper dive,
Right.
a thorough investigation.
But sometimes we just need to glance at something quickly.
Right. And that's when looking over comes in handy.
Yeah, like proofreading a document or quickly reading an article to get the main idea.
Exactly. Looking over is more superficial, just a quick scan.
So looking into for those deep dives and looking over for those quick checks.
I like it.
Feeling like a phrasal verb detective now.
And sometimes we need to check in with people,
Uh-huh.
especially those we care about.
Absolutely. It's so important to stay connected.
It is. It's a way of showing we care and seeing how they're doing.
But sometimes we need to check up on someone if we haven't heard from them in a while.
Yes, especially if we're concerned about them.
Yeah, it can be a little more protective.
It can be. But usually it's rooted in care and concern.
Right.
We check in to stay connected, and we check up on to make sure everything's okay.
Okay. I like that distinction.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears again.
Okay.
How about some phrasal verbs for describing how we spend our free time?
All right. What's more relaxing than hanging out with friends?
Oh, it's the best. Just relaxing and sharing stories.
Exactly. Just chilling and enjoying each other's company.
But even the best hangouts have to end eventually.
Yeah, and that's when we hang up the phone.
And sometimes that hang-up can be kind of abrupt, especially if you're in the middle of an argument.
Oh, yeah. A sudden hang up can definitely send a message.
For sure.
Okay, let's talk about a phrasal verb that can be exciting and heartbreaking.
Ooh, okay.
Breaking up.
Yeah, breaking up is definitely an emotional one. Ending a relationship is never easy.
It's not. But sometimes we need to break things up in a more literal sense.
Like dividing a task into smaller parts or splitting a group into teams.
So we can break up with someone, break up a fight, and break up a long meeting into shorter ones.
Exactly.
Lots of uses.
Breakup is a great example of how phrasal verbs can be both literal and figurative.
I'm starting to see phrasal verbs everywhere. It's like they're the key to unlocking fluency in English.
I think you're right. The more you pay attention to them and the more you appreciate how much they add to the language.
Okay, I'm obsessed.
Yes.
Let's keep going. What other phrasal verbs are out there?
All right. I got a few more that I think you'll find fascinating.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface of all the phrasal verbs out there.
There are so many. It's like a whole universe of these little word combinations.
And it's amazing how much they impact the way we speak and understand English.
Absolutely. They add so much color and nuance to the language.
So let's take a minute to think about what we've learned about phrasal verbs.
Okay?
We started by seeing how those tiny little prepositions can totally transform the meaning of a verb. Right, like call out versus call out to.
Yeah, completely different meanings.
Exactly. And we talked about how phrasal verbs can be used to express all sorts of emotions and actions.
From feeling excited to being disappointed to even being a little sassy.
It's true. They really run the gamut.
And we talked about how it's not enough to just memorize definitions.
Right.
We need to really get a feel for how phrasal verbs work in different situations.
It's about understanding the subtle ways they're used in context.
Exactly, and that comes with practice and exposure.
Absolutely. The more you hear and see phrasal verbs in real life, the more natural they'll become.
It's like learning any new skill. The more you use it, the better you get at it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So as we wrap up our deep dives into phrasal verbs, I want to leave you with a question to think about.
Okay, I like it.
Why do you think English has so many phrasal verbs? What does that tell us about the language?
That's a great question. It really speaks to the dynamic and ever-changing nature of English.
It's a language that's always evolving, finding new ways to express itself.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so fascinating to learn.
So keep exploring, keep practicing, and keep discovering all the amazing things about the English language.
You got it. Happy exploring.